Hi everyone, Assalamualaikum. So the second episode of the Faralynn and Friends, I'm gonna do this in a new way due to this pandemic and the CMCO. Unfortunately, I cannot meet my friend physically, so we have to do other mean of doing this recording. Hence, we decided to do it online, which is through video call. So later on, I'm gonna go into this video call with my friend. So he is someone that I met when I did my practicum before I become a professional. We share the same interests, so hopefully in today's conversation, you guys can learn something from him as well. So tune in.
Assalamualaikum and a very good day for those who watching again. So this is the second episode of the Faralynn and Friend, and for today's video, I have invited a friend of mine. We decided to do this virtually because now is the CMCO and this is the best option, and hopefully the first time of doing this it won't be so bad. So with me here is Hakim. I've known Hakim for how long have we been knowing each other?
2018.
2018,
Two,
yes,
2 years.
2 years. Okay, I met Hakim from my practicum. All right, so Hakim here, last year, I think around October or November last year, Hakim did something which amazed me a lot. And of course, I will let Hakim share more about the thing that he has done. He has done. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. An adventure, I would say, that Hakim has taken into. And I feel like there's a lot of things that even I myself, as someone who listened to his story, learned a lot. So, of course, for him himself who experienced it firsthand, there will be a lot of things that we can learn. Okay, maybe Hakim, you can start with introducing yourself and just let the viewers know who you are. Because right now, oh, by the way, this is Hakim. I'm gonna put it out there. This is first appearance in Instagram after a long time of not being on Instagram. So yeah, Hakim, I pass it over to you.
Hi Farah, thank you for having me. I guess to describe myself, I would say I'm a curious person. I'm introspective. So Farah was saying how we met at this NGO where I was interning for a bit. So I studied psychology in UKM. I graduated about last year. And then after that graduation, I decided to embark on this journey of just this adventure and this what I call like soul searching kind of thing. Before I started, building my career.
Anyway, so Hakim was mentioning about soul searching, right? Embarking in this adventure. So apparently Hakim went to Morocco all by himself. Is it in October or November?
I went November,
Early
early
November.
November, like a week
Yeah.
after my graduation.
Yeah, like literally a week after his graduation,
Yeah.
he chose, I mean, not he chose lah, he decided to go for this journey of soul searching. When I say that, it sounds easy, but never mind. Maybe you can share because to be honest, Hakim have been telling like my friends and I, a group of friends, about how he has this interest of going to Morocco, but to really have that leap of faith and going, like really do it, it's a different thing. So Hakim, maybe you can share what drives you or make you to make
Mhm.
decision to go to Morocco and why Morocco specifically.
I guess this spark of traveling has always been inside me. It's just because it's something where when you read books, and in a way like reading books is also traveling because you get to understand characters, you get to see what happens in those stories, and I think I've always been drawn to that, understanding stories.
Mm.
So and then I to be honest, I think there was this one time where in my university program during semester break, I joined this program where we went to various orang asli communities
Mhm.
in Malaysia. So we went
Mhm.
to went to Sarawak and went to like northern Perak, and we lived with a bunch of communities of orang asli there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in Sarawak, I remember there was this doctor, this medical doctor who assisted our group. She was like, I was sort of talking to her about my my interest in traveling and things like that. And she was like, maybe just go like after you graduate to to a foreign country if you get the chance, and just try to see what just to have that pause before you start building your career. So that somehow that stuck to me, even though she spoke it quite casually, but it stuck with me. And I think it was just throughout the years, it was just sort of this itch for traveling, like actual traveling, not just vacationing, was always there inside me. But I wasn't really sure how to, is it like possible, because not many people actually do it. But again, I understand it can be like financial reasons or other reasons. But then and then I think somewhere at the end of my third year in university, I went to Kashmir, and then that was a sort of a life-changing experience. But then after I traveled Kashmir, I read this book by Muhammad Asad, The Road to Mecca, which I shared with Farah.
Yeah,
And
it's a good book.
It is a very beautiful book, and I think that when I read that book, it was just like, okay, this is what I'm going to do after I graduate. So that, I guess, to answer your question, like that book was sort of what pushed me to actually plan and pick a country to go. But I think at the time it was just because I read Muhammad Asad's book. It was it was a book that, I mean, the central point of the book is how he sort of found Islam through his travels in like the Arabian deserts and then the like Arabic countries and things like that. So I've always been interested in that, and I wanted to go to a Middle Eastern country in the beginning, and somehow that just brought me to Morocco.
Okay, so it's more on because of the prior experience, like you said, going to this orang asli community and meeting a few people, reading books. So I think these small events that you have in your life somehow shape that decision and also drives you to really say, okay, let's do this, let's go here and do this. And I think it's also in line with what you are searching for at that moment.
Yeah, definitely. I think for like in the perspective of the people around me, it seemed like a sudden thing to do. But like you said, like it's always been sort of dormant in my soul that it's something I want to do. It's something at the back of my head. Like I think I want to do this, traveling thing.
Making that decision. So guys, I think the point here is if you fix your mind to doing something and really know the intention of why you're doing it. Like if you put the right intention, it will be something very meaningful. And even though, like you said, it's not like everything is good the moment you're in Morocco, right? So, but the fact that you know why you're being there, it helps you to persevere. I would say, I don't know, because you're alone.
Yeah.
Like literally, you're alone. Like,
sorry.
yeah, sorry.
You made a great point about intention, because I think there were times where I was there, I kind of struggled with it. Like, okay, is this like, why am I here actually? What is like my original intention for coming here? Is it just to travel? Like, what does that mean even to just travel? Like, yeah, I kind of, it was a struggle that I had to ground myself with time to time, like when I was there. It's not just about me being in another country. It's about me also learning about myself and learning about the people there, learning about the country. Yeah, so that was pretty much something that I held on to throughout my time there. Yeah, traveling has always been passive. It's always been an active thing for me. It's something you put yourself in, and you're not like you do it to relax or something. It has to be in intention. It has to be, yeah.
And I think you raised something also about intention just now, like throughout your journey, you did like question, like, okay, why is the reason I'm here? I guess that's why the purpose of, it's not the purpose lah, tapi macam if you look back at the mechanism of intention, it's not always sustained, There will always be ups and downs in terms of intention. Sometimes you forgot about it. So that's why I'm not sure. Like, I think we've heard of the intention of like, tajdid niat, like perbaharui niat, renew your intention, something like that. Because along the way, you may lose sight of the reason why you started or something like that. So I think it's a
Yep.
good example as well. Like when you say you're in Morocco, even though initially you put the intention, but you do get dragged, I would say, I don't know. So it's a beautiful way of understanding how intention works as well. Okay, so let's talk more about your experience in Morocco. Maybe you can share like how long did you like went on
Was
traveling?
about 5 months. 5 months.
5 months, and it was like
By comparison, that's
yeah,
it's not a long time like compared to some people who travel for like a
yeah,
year.
because
But
it's
then
during COVID.
yeah, I'm
COVID.
grateful for the experience. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think if COVID didn't happen, I would still be somewhere, not here.
somewhere
But
in
yeah,
Morocco.
I accept whatever has happened. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So, okay, guys, this is something that happened. Hakim actually bought only a one-way ticket. He didn't, he
Oh
didn't,
yeah.
he didn't buy a ticket untuk balik Malaysia like on certain time. So he
Mm-hmm.
literally bought a ticket to go to Morocco and didn't know when he's coming back, right?
And so macam I think that was a bit impulsive of me because that macam that you need to there are certain airports where you arrive they ask for your return ticket. So
All right. So Hakim, because you mentioned going to Morocco, and Morocco is like you don't know anyone there, right? So did you plan your like where to go the moment you step your feet onto Morocco, like Morocco's airport, do you know where you're going? Like, do you
oh,
plan where you're going?
okay, so I think you know this about me. I'm quite spontaneous, almost impulsive, but not really impulsive. But like I remember the day I arrived in Morocco, it was quite terrifying because it's that I don't know. I remember I think I just booked for one night, the first night in this like youth hostel thing. So I just because they had like trains lah. So much from the airport I just took the train and I just walked in the city of Casablanca looking for that apartment. Macam okay, I don't even because I didn't have internet at the time. So I just walked around for a long time looking for it, asking people around. But I think that was sort of that kind of foreshadowed the whole traveling experience. Like I knew it was going to be like that. I didn't expect it to be a breeze, which I think which really helped, just having less expectations or even no expectations and just see where that brings you. I remember because I have this book, this small like Moroccan Arabic dictionary, English. So in the beginning I was just like trying to speak with that book, which was
Or is it like they cannot speak English at all?
no, that's one thing about Moroccans. Not many, because their second language is French. So
Okay.
yeah, so this all helps the way I study Arabic lah, because I couldn't use a second language.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
okay. So you book a hotel, and from there, so it doesn't mean that you stay
It
there
wasn't
for a few
hotel, it
days.
was a hostel. So.
Okay, sorry. You book a hostel, and is that like you stay there for a few days and then you decide where to go next, or how?
Yeah, I stayed there for about 2 weeks. Yeah, and then because I made some friends there, so there was reason for me to stay lah.
How do you make
Yeah.
friends then? I mean, you're literally no one.
I know, right? I think that is the context lah. Macam when you have nobody, you just push yourself to talk to someone. Yeah. So and then I ended up with talking to this guy who was just in the street next to the place I was staying at. I just approached him and asked him how he was, and then he was like, I just live around the corner. If you need anything, just let me know. And then after that, like we hung out like every day, and then his mom would invite me to his house, and then we had like couscous, which was this like traditional Moroccan cuisine there. It was awkward lah, because I tried to, because it was just my first week there. I didn't know how to speak, but thank God I had the book. The dictionary was very helpful.
Oh, so he cannot speak English at all. His
No,
friend. Oh
no, he
my!
could not speak. Yeah,
So you
which I
literally
think,
rely on that dictionary.
yeah, but I think it kind of makes it more like poignant, and when I think about it, it's quite beautiful lah. Macam the idea that language, the communication is not just about language; it's also about intention, and sometimes you can see that with the person you're talking to. You can feel the energy lah. Macam if this person, enjoys your company without necessarily saying it. So yeah, I kind of, that's something also that I learned lah. Macam the language thing. Like you don't need to be able to speak much to be able to develop, a bond with someone.
I found it so interesting when macam, I mean, you guys don't know each other. You just approach him, and then one thing is also language in terms of like he cannot speak English, and then you cannot speak Arabic and also French, but you guys can connect. And I think they're so like you said, the mom is so kind to invite you over and those kind of things. So I think when it comes to that, I guess kindness is a universal language. Can I say
I
that?
mean, it's a language that I kind of wish we all spoke more of.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but again, like the point of kindness, macam I and that's not even an isolated case. When the mom invited me, I think like most of the people I met there were just so welcoming. They just like just invite to their house and then have dinner. And sometimes if you need to look for a place to stay, you can just stay here. That kind of yeah. But I don't think it's an rarity, because I think a lot of people are like that. Like I remember when I was in the Philippines as well, people are like that. They're very welcoming. If you go to like the villages, you travel there, like you can just get invited to someone's wedding or someone's house. Like just for the sake, just for being there, you're somehow included.
When you share about this, like meeting stranger and being friends, it just remind me back on how during the prophet time, like I can't remember specifically the name of this Sahaba, but this person, he came from another place outside of Medina. He came to Medina for the sake of seeing Rasulullah, and then Ali found him at the masjid, and Ali invited him over. And I think they cannot speak the same language, so that's why it's a bit of struggle. So Ali invited him over to his house. They spent the time together for a few days. Until then, barulah Ali know that he's actually here to meet Rasulullah.
Yeah, I think it's something to do with people's cultures. I think because especially in Islam, you are encouraged to treat people like, especially I forgot the term. The term is like abir sabil. That means like passerby. So like just someone passing through a town or a place or whatever. And I remember this guy who helped. I was asking him for like places to stay, like a hostel, not like his house. I just asked for places to stay, that's why. And then he's just like, okay, you can stay at this motel. And he paid for my night. I'm like, why? And then he's like, well, just because you're a passerby. And in the Quran, like, and in the Sunnah, like Rasulullah said, you treat passerby, very, it's just like on a different, it's just on a different level of kindness, like the way you treat a traveler. Yeah, and then that really touched me, like, macam, wow, even though it's such like Islam is so embedded in their culture that it's very touching to see that happen in front of your eyes.
Okay.
I know, I'm aware that I'm a male Muslim traveling in a Muslim country, which was it definitely helped. Like I noticed how much that helped my experience there. But I just want to add, like when I was coming back here, and I met a couple of Malaysians, and I met this couple of Indian girls who were traveling. One of them came to Morocco first, so they were traveling. She was traveling solo first, and it's interesting how our experiences were quite similar. Some people there can be quite reluctant with outsiders, especially Europeans or Westerners or whatever. But yeah, so when I met these two Indian girls, it was just like, oh, it's you can still travel in this country, which is notorious for its um, treatment of women in the streets. Like I've seen that happen, like ladies getting catcalled in the street and things like that. But somehow these two Indian girls, I mean, it doesn't matter if they're Indian, lah, but they had this very beautiful experience of kind of, yeah, it overlaps with my experience lah. Macam it's not just about being Muslim or being a male, because you can, yeah, you can get the experience as well.
So Hakim, you went there. How did you get into learning Arabic?
It's just like I get goosebumps thinking about it, because it was so planned, like unbeknownst to me. Like it just happened. Like I remember when from Casablanca I wanted to go to Fez, so I just took a train. Was it a train? A train, yeah, a train to Fez. And then I had no idea where I was gonna sleep that night. I had no idea what I was gonna do there. But I had, like, throughout my 2 weeks in Casablanca, I knew I was gonna maybe do something Arabic related lah. But I didn't know if Fez was the place, because I before Fez I went to another place, but it wasn't there, so I just, like, it didn't feel right, so I went to Fez. So when I arrived, I walked into this Medina, which is like a huge, terrifying city, like not city, Medina, like old city, where it's a maze basically. If you Google Fez, like it is like the old city is a maze basically. Yeah. So when I got there, it was terrifying. There were so many people. It was like, okay, how am I gonna survive? Like, how do I even look for a place to stay here? And then I just came across this guy. I think he saw like how puzzled and aimless I look, and he just asked me, "Oh, can I help you?" I said, "I'm looking for a school." It wasn't planned, but I think it just came out that way. Like, I'm looking for a school. I'm trying to study Arabic. And he just brought me to this. They call it Darul Quran, which is a traditional madrasa for learning the Islamic sciences. So I went there and I talked to this my teacher. And then he just took me in and then he asked me where I was going to stay that night. I'm saying, I don't know. And he brought me to a house where I stayed with this family. I stayed with for a long time, like 2 months. I stayed there. Yeah, so it was just, it's crazy thinking about it. Like, I don't know, like 6 hours before that, I didn't know where I was going to sleep. I was going to, go, and like, who am I going to meet? Am I going to get mugged? Am I going to get, like kidnapped or whatever? But yeah, just alhamdulillah, like it just happened in a way that I can't explain. Like the feeling that I felt when I slept that night in that house, macam, wow, this is just beyond me lah. Yeah.
Wow. I couldn't imagine. I cannot imagine myself being in that position. I'm just gonna cry on the street.
Oh, that happened as well for me.
Oh, really?
But that later lah, not like in the beginning.
Okay, so from that, yeah.
I feel, oh my god, that I just have I think an interesting anecdote lah regarding crying in the street. Yeah, so when I was traveling, because I studied Arabic in Fez for 2 months, and so after that I went travel around Morocco. So I remember one time I was feeling a bit low, so I sat by like at the side of this street. It was an empty street, like no one was there. And then this old guy came, and then he gave me this fruit. Like he didn't say anything. He just gave me this fruit, and he said like Allah is sahel, which means like may Allah ease. Yeah, and then like he just walked away, and I think because I had tears in my eyes at the time. I tried to hide it, but then yeah, I think from far he just noticed me, and then he just came by, walked past me, gave me that fruit, and just prayed for me, and just left.
You say Allah yusahil? Allah yusahil?
Like in Darija, they say like Allah yasahil, which means like yeah, may Allah ease. Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm getting goosebumps when you say that. Seriously, it's like the moment that he said that Allah yusahil, it's like very short kind of dua, right? But it means so much Because like you said,
Yes.
you're at the lowest point, you're in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
you're in a country with not your homeland, and then
Yeah.
that's just a simple gesture of kindness, genuine kindness. It's like, I don't know, I don't know how to put it. I'm
Mhm.
just getting goosebumps when you say that.
Yeah. Literally, he just came by and just gave me a fruit. We
Yeah.
had like this like a few seconds stare. I'm like, and then he just said, "Allah is ahead." This one. It almost like macam I'm thinking, but did that guy exist? It was just in my head ke apa.
It's like a
But yeah,
guardian
that
angel kind of thing.
yeah. So macam, but the thing is, it happened to me a couple of times.
Mm.
Like even in Fest, um, when I was walking, just stood by the street for just thinking for a bit. I don't think I was particularly sad ke apa. I was just like deep in thought.
Mm.
A guy walking just gave me kuih, which I just for the sake of sedekah lah. But it was just like those things, like like sometimes you feel like you need to be in control, but once
Mm.
you let loose of yourself, like these things happen, like these magical
Mm.
things happen in your life. And I
Mm.
think, yeah, allowing that to happen is such a key thing in one's life.
Okay, I think that's a lot. I mean, 5 months is not like a short time, even though okay, compared to others, even compared to the book that you read, it's like like a
I mean
long.
that's across like many years. That's like
Yeah,
or
yeah,
3 years
like
or
many
something.
years, and
Yeah.
even for you, like 5 months already, you learn so many things, you experience so many things, and I
Mhm.
guess, I guess that's the beauty of it, right? You cover everything that you experience in Morocco for the five in the like within 5 months. It's gonna be a lot. So maybe you can just like share one biggest learning. Like what is it that really contribute to your growth today? Like only one.
What there's just so many things. I think macam when I think about the lessons I've learned,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of it changes throughout time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember when we met with our friends, and then I shared what I learned. Looking back, macam I still think that's true, but I think macam it changes lah. Macam it really, when you think about lessons learned, it's more about the present as opposed to what I learned back then. Okay, well, I think the most important thing that is pertinent to my current time is just how desperation can be such a good motivator.
Mm-hmm.
When I go to a different country where I know nobody, I have no sense of security. I just push myself
Mm-hmm.
to get whatever lifeline that I can there. So be it like through someone, asking for help from someone.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's just, it made me realize how much how discomfort really pushes you, and how important it is to push yourself, and not just stay in your comfort zone. I think that's a
Mm-hmm.
pertinent lesson that I learned now.
Right. The moment you step out of your comfort zone, we have the potential of doing extraordinary things, doing things that may be something that we don't even expect we can't do. But because you are not in your comfort zone, you're in a new experience, you're experiencing something very different, totally something that you're not familiar with. That's when you have to push yourself. Hmm.
Even with pushing oneself, sometimes you don't realize that you're doing it. I think I had that impression when I was there. Like
Hmm.
looking back, I think macam, how did I do that? How did I just randomly approach someone in the street and ask for help? Like
Hmm.
as someone who's a bit shy, it is a weird thing to experience, to think
Hmm.
that was me. What happened then? That was myself. So
Hmm.
yeah, so and then but at the time I didn't realize how courageous it was. Like courage being is it sometimes it's not it doesn't have to be forced. Sometimes in certain environments that courage can just
Hmm.
come and you don't even realize it.
Um,
I get that all the time whenever like people, when I came back, like you always say, my friends always say, "Oh, how did you do it? That's such a courageous thing to do." But yeah, I didn't feel it was courageous. I just felt it was natural at the time. Yeah, so
I guess I don't know. Suddenly, I have this thought. It's like how God is taking care of you as well.
mm,
You know how. I
that
mean,
hits a lot.
I mean, of course, on our own, to be honest, without that guidance and that, how do I put this? Kalau Allah doesn't allow it to happen, it won't happen, right? If that courageous is not put into you, it won't happen anyway. So I guess
Mm-hmm,
that
mm-hmm,
goes back to a higher kind of power that we don't sometimes we don't understand, but it's such an amazing force, I would say.
mm-hmm.
I don't know. Okay,
Yeah, just
that's not.
something. I think. I think. Yeah, I get what you mean. It's just something being out of our control,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
like once we're in it, we don't even realize the significance or like the mechanism of it. But it just
Mm,
happened, and
mm,
just it just makes me think, macam we really are like we really have no power about what happens. It's Allah's
mm.
destiny. It's just
Yeah. And I
and our
think the
job.
moment,
Sorry.
yeah, and like the moment you submit, like slowly you really submit, and that's when the how do I put this unexpected thing happen, like an old guy coming to you and offering that fruit,
Mm-hmm,
and then this guy that you met, and suddenly you can click and you're invited to his house and this kind of thing. You know, like the moment you slowly put your trust in Allah and just like yeah,
mm-hmm,
just go along the way. So
mm-hmm.
I guess that is something like how help is being delivered as well. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it's just I remember I watched when I was there because I kind of I did my 1 month lockdown in Morocco before I came back.
Mm,
So I was watching this lecture by Sheikh Abdul Hakim Murad. It's called Perspective on the Pandemic, and then one
mm,
of the things he said was um, the future is Allah's. The future belongs to Allah. It's not
mm,
man's. So we travel through it as it decrease. So it's kind of like the idea of just submitting to whatever happens to you, even if it's a low point or a high point or whatever. It's the idea that things happen for a reason, and kind of whenever I read that quote, it gives me perspective. Like, okay, you might be in a difficult situation wherever you are, but just know that it is for something. It is, and by allowing ourselves to submit to it, we are traveling through it as Allah decrees. Yeah.
it's such a beautiful way of putting it. And I think that is what we need as a believer. Sometimes we tend to think we can control things when in fact it's actually out of our control. All right. Okay. So I think we have a lot. We have covered a lot. Thank you so much, Hakim, for sharing your experience in Morocco. I hope whatever experience that you have, it has shaped you for your growth. And I think for the people who are watching as well, I hope you guys can learn from the experience. The kindness that Hakim has shared reminds me again of my trip when I was in the UK. I went to Andalusia as well. I went to Spain. And like Islamic history has always been something that I'm very interested in. And Morocco is one of the places that is rich in that history. And like knowing how Hakim went there to learn Arabic, to experience how it is to live in a community, in a place that I think Islam lives there. I mean, you can feel that environment. So it's just something that is so amazing. And yeah, and I think it's not about going to that place as well to experience it. It's more on how you see your life is. And like we're just gonna put out there as well that hadith, like how Rasulullah said, live this life as a traveler, right? So wherever we are, we're still a traveler. There's so many things that we can pick up along the way that we can learn. Doesn't necessarily have to be in Morocco, have to be in Mecca, have to be in US or UK or wherever you are, or Malaysia. It's about how you put yourself out there, how you want to pick up yourself, and just live this life. It's how you're. It's how it's. Yeah, I'm lost for words. So yeah, thank you, Hakim. I'm gonna stop the
Thank you
recording. Quick.
for having me.
Yeah, Hakim. Any last words before we end?
No.
All right. So inshallah, we'll see each other again in the next video in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully, please pray that I can be consistent in editing the video and upload it. Inshallah. So we'll see each other again. Bye.
Bye bye.